enough of that. And enough of that. That's a bit quieter. It's Mouse here, giving you a guided tour of my shed. In theme with the Rat Bike Zone. For all you folks out there who want to know where all the magic happens, this is it. We'll start here with the door. We've got nails on it because space is at a premium, so we've got welding cables. We've got my lead melting crucible and a fuel tank there from the Seagull outboard engine that is outside. That's probably absolutely shagged by now. Got a space heater today because it's snowing outside, so I don't know if you can see any snow. Yep, completely covered in snow and ice. So we've got the space heater. A rather charming temperature there of 32.5 degrees. It's not 1 o'clock in the morning. I haven't set the time on there for years, so everything else. We've got the bottle we're running from here, and you can see that it's iced over with the amount of gas I've been pulling out of it to heat the place up. So on with the tour. We'll go around in an anti-clockwise direction, and we'll start with under the bench. We'll start under the bench. We've got a compressor and a grinding wheel that I bring up on top of the bench when I want to use it. We've got sort of a tool shelf here full of tools, including, and we'll see if it comes out in the light here. We can't read that, that's a shame. I'll take a photograph of that later, but that's my American bastard file, so check the photo out for that later on. Coming across, we've got big drill bits. We've got an ingress of nature. We've got my tap set, not many dies but plenty of taps, all metric, can't be doing with any of the other nonsense. A drill set that's reasonably complete. Coming across to the sound system, which you saw me turn off a moment ago. Back to my clock and thermometer, so you know just exactly how cold it is in here. Shelf of fairly interesting things. A silver mag light, which is quite interesting. I got that at a conference when I used to be employed in the real world. A promotional thing. That's not going to come out, but it is in fact Sparta Steels, which is quite amusing considering the films that have been out recently. Sparta Steels Maglite. All sorts of useful gubbins on the top. We've got tape, gaffer tape, out of order sign, saws, my vernier caliper, PTFE tape and stuff. Then we move on to an area for PPE. So we've got the welding mask, goggles, ear defenders, grinding discs and all that jazz. My sort of pride and joy is my pillar drill, which as you can see has got golf ball knobs on it because it didn't have any when I picked it up. Nice and cheap. One of my favourite things off eBay for not much money at all, certainly much less than it was worth. Which of course comes on to the bench. The bench is actually looking quite clear at the moment. It was like this, but all the way along, and I've had to clear it up because I need to get a flywheel in here tomorrow for drilling some holes and mounting a clutch unit to it. And round again, we'll start at the floor with some crap, move up to, oh, I missed on the bench, coming across to the bench, some superb broken German engineering. It's a BMW gearbox there, completely shagged, and it's shagged because I can't pull this flange off. And the reason I can't pull the flange off, because it's stuck, and I pulled so hard. I made a special tool and everything. Here it is, special tool, and you wind it up tight and it snapped the lug off rather than pulling the thing off. So yeah, knackered German engineering. We come up to a bandsaw. I got this for free, or I didn't really. I had a lodger who was late with his rent, and when I said, look, you're late with your rent, mate, he turned up with this and said, will this do? And it did it very well. So he had another month's accommodation. Another broken gearbox here from BMW. I thank them for that. Left me stranded all over the place, that did. And then we moved to the, because I've got shelves everywhere. Under the shelf we've got an SR125 and a XS250 engine and something else under there. I can't remember what the hell it is, it's been under there so long. And then we move up to my nuts and bolts collection. I keep in a tin and a tray, nuts and bolts, some random stuff, puncture repair kits, tool rolls and all that jazz. This is bits of cut in half diesel engine, but the less said about that the better. The next shelf is quite interesting because it's all my nuts and bolts. So we've got screws at one end, nuts and bolts. If you can read that, 2,500 M8 washers. What I'll ever do with those I don't know, but they were nice and cheap, so I had those. The next shelf has some Imperial taps and dies in should I ever need them, and you can see they're all nice and rusty as they should be. And then moving across gets a bit erotic. We've got the horny shelf full of horns because I wanted to fit truck horns to the sidecar, and it never kind of worked. So you've got those. In fact, you can have a demo of those with the airline. We got one horn. No idea if this is in field of vision. The horn. The longer horn. Everyone says size doesn't matter, but it does. Slightly lower note. And then the smaller horn, I thought I'd be able to run this, but it never really worked. That's quite musical. So that was the horny shelf. They never ended up on the sidecar because I couldn't find a 12-volt compressor pump that was cheap enough and powerful enough to run them. I tried all sorts of things like converting a Peugeot 205 diesel engine vacuum pump to blow, and that also wasn't enough. The next shelf we got an ammo box full of stuff. My polishing kits, I got all sorts of polishing wheels and polished soaps there from when I used to polish things. I've recovered from that particular mental illness now. Of course, fiberglass resin. We've got soda crystals for derusting, and then on the top, there's a chopper seat. And then this is one of those oil wax bath things you put your chain in that never really worked. That was horrible, that was. And we'll start at the bottom on the next shelf. We've got a lawnmower you can't see. We've got gas and fire extinguisher bottles. The next shelf has got electric motors and an alternator somewhere. The next shelf is bits of broken bike in a tray. And that's much the same as the next shelf. Bits of broken bike and a tray, a side zombie wheel, and then at the top we've got fuel tanks and mud guards. And that orange thing, I believe, is a Harley Davidson tank. It's the only bit of Harley I own, and I'm not proud. Across the top of the third shelf, not much up there. Coming down here, this is more interesting. We've got the fiberglass matting for the fiberglass resin. But here is all my attachments and fittings and bits and bobs for the auto gas or LPG conversion on the bike. So this is all propane related. I don't know what that's doing in there. That's my larger heating nozzle for when I want to make things really hot. There's a gas regulator from a forklift truck I picked up cheap somewhere. Under this is some suspension parts, springs and dampers and stuff. Underneath that is tins of solvent and fluids and cleaners and sprays and all sorts of shite. Coming back lower, we've got a third knackered German BMW gearbox there, so they're not particularly reliable. And underneath we've got a Lombardini 6.5 horsepower diesel engine there, which hasn't gone into anything yet, but the potential is there. And whilst we're on the floor, we've got a little welder there, an arc and TIG welder, the DC TIG. A very big grinding wheel I don't use because it's just far too big. Coming back up to the corner of the room, or the corner of the shed, we've got oxyacetylene kit. We've got two sets of bottles, so we've got 4 bottles, 2 of them are empty and 2 of them are half full. Bits of bicycle stuff from bicycle projects that are all dead. Back round to the door again. So that's my shed, or my Shedlatory, where the magic happens, mostly. Panoramic shot now of it all. There we are, pillar drill, bits and bobs, the horny shelf. Round to the gas stuff back round to the welder. So that's my shed. Goodbye.